Hey, remember when they tried to make Jumanji in space? Well, me neither. But the idea was so cool that they made a 3D platforming game out of it. Yay! Another one! Also, I want you to get used to term because the PlayStation 2 had a lot of tie-in games that were platform games. Instead of trying to take the idea and make it a really cool board game, it decided to, let's go generic with this one. The game loosely follows the plot of the movie, and it really only seems to be targeted to fans of the movie, but is this game really any good? For a 2005 game, the graphics are pretty bad. The game looks like it was made about 2 or 3 years ago and left as is. The textures look washed out, the animations are passable at best, and the whole game looks like it lacks polish. Where the game is probably the worst is the level design. The level design is generic. It's like the designers looked at Ratchet & Clank and said, let's do those kinds of levels, and since we're on a limited time frame, let's just make them a lot smaller. Every level looks like it's from another plant-based game. It feels just flat and lacks of any life to it. The audio is probably the best part of the game. The music's pretty good. It has a very Star Trek or Lost in Space to it. It's all very orchestral kinds of music, but there's a track in the game every single time you die. It plays again and again, which just picks up and just gets really loud and can be a little off-putting at times. The voice acting is also pretty good considering how limited it uses the plot. Every bit of acting has great delivery and a lot of character to it. And aside from that, the sound design all around is very well done. The sound effects are pretty good as well. And in general, this is probably the best part of the game. The gameplay is passable. The controls are very easy to learn at any age. There's a total of around 30 levels, which is decent length for a kid's game. For what it is, you can probably finish it in about 5 to 8 hours. There are 3 playable characters in the game, and the game switches them up every level or so. That's variety, and each character has different abilities. Like Walter can run around with a wrench and beat the tar out of enemies, and Dan, he has a slingshot where he can shoot different, lightning balls and stuff like that. Where the game screws up is the platforming. You jump very short, and normally this would be a problem if the camera was centered correctly. It's very hard to gauge your jumps, which leads to more deaths than you'd like. The only other minor problem is that the game can get very repetitive. Although there are 3 playable characters, you are in essence do the same kinds of things, which are fighting baddies and very basic 2D and 3D platforming. With all that aside, the game doesn't really do any of it exceptionally good or bad. It really feels like a by-the-books kind of platformer, and for what it is, it's an okay one. Overall, I can't come to hate this game. Yeah, sure, the graphics are bad, the platforming needs a lot of work, but overall, it's a top-to-bottom okay game. If you have a little child who likes Zathura or want to play it out of nostalgia for the film, then hey, go ahead, you can pick it up for about $3 to $5 on eBay. It's a little rough around the edges, but I'm still gonna give it, a 6 out of 10. I was very surprised in how good Zathura was, when I was expecting it to be, virtually unplayable.